welcome to the Martinsville Chamber's Mayoral Forum. Please take a minute to silence your cell phones. I'm Darcy Quakenbush, Board Chair for the Martinsville Chamber. As a chamber, we care about the future of our city, and our goal tonight is to understand where our candidates are on various issues that significantly affect membership and the broader community. All three candidates were invited to participate, and initially all three accepted the challenge to join us this evening. Although at a couple of points along the way, candidate Cole accepted our invitation, in the end she chose not to join us in this productive conversation, highlighting each candidate's vision for the future of Martinsville. Is this really loud? No. Okay. I feel like I'm yelling. We're grateful to Mayor Kenny Costin and mayoral candidate Costin and Manley for recognizing the importance of civil discourse and accepting the challenge of addressing some major topics of concern and interest to their constituents. I'd like to introduce Amy Bennett, who will be our moderator this evening. Amy's our Member Services Committee Chair and has already proven herself up to the task as she stepped up at the last minute to moderate our recent third house session. Amy lives outside the city, so is not able to vote in the city elections and has no close ties to any of our candidates. Please join me in welcoming and thanking Amy for stepping up once again.
But I am not a Martinsville resident. So first we're going to talk, just get to know our candidates just a little bit better. We are a small community. Many of us know both of you, but we do have new residents and folks who may not personally know you, and they would like to learn more about you before casting their votes. So we're going to give each of you a chance to talk. This first section will be 1 minute long. So just give us a brief overview of your bio, your family, community involvements, past jobs. Mayor Costin, we'll let you start.
I graduated in 1979 from Eminence High School, went on to attend Purdue University, then went to Mid-American College of Funeral Service, where I got my degree in funeral service. Met my wife Debbie. We were married in 82. We bought the funeral home in 85. Actually, we bought the funeral home February 1st of 85. February the 5th, we found out she was pregnant. Had it been switched, probably never taken a chance. We have two children. Our daughter, Amy Beth Perkey, lives here in Martinsville. She is a math teacher at John Wood Middle School. Her husband, Austin, is a licensed funeral director and helps run the family business. They have two sons, Will and Emerson. Will and I share a common birthday, so he thinks we're twins. Our son, AJ, graduated from Martinsville High School, got his undergrad degree from IU when he hadn't got his doctorate from Bellarmine in physical therapy.
We'll let you introduce AJ's children.
Okay. Jenny Thacker, they live in Plainfield. They have two lovely daughters, Raylan and Riley. Sorry.
Couldn't leave out the girls. All right, Mr. Manley, go ahead. Give us a brief bio.
Thank you. My wife, Melissa, and I are lifelong residents of Martinsville. Together we have a blended family of 10 children, and we have 11.5 grandchildren, with 0.5 being due in September. So a very exciting time of our lives. All of our children have graduated, with the exception of one from Martinsville High School. He will graduate next year. 2024 from Martinsville High School. I currently work for the county doing the director of weights and measures. Again, a lifelong resident of Martinsville. My family's from here. My roots are here. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next topic will be our reasons for running, your qualifications, and your strengths. And we'll trade back and forth on who goes first. So, Mr. Manley, go ahead.
You're starting with me, I'm sorry, I'm
Yes.
hard to hear. Okay.
Yes.
I'm often asked, why would you want to run for mayor? Well, it's a good question, and sometimes it's hard for me to put those in words, but some reasons that come to mind. I'm a former employee of the city, and I've been in a position where I've seen coworkers in the past that have not been treated with the respect that they deserve, and that always hurt me. And as a mayor, I'd like to assure all the employees that they would be treated with the dignity and respect that everyone deserves. And they will know that concerned over the spending in Martinsville. I think we've gotten a bit out of control, and I would like to address that and see if we can get some of that under control. I am fiscally responsible in my own home, and that would go with the city budgets as well. I did want to address one thing. I know one of my opponents, that's not here tonight, felt the need to bring to social media the fact that she had raised a lot more money than I had. And you know what? I take pride in that, because look what we have accomplished with a lot less money. I don't think either of the other candidates have any more name recognition from me than I do. I got to looking at the reports, and a lot of those funds came from outside the city. Mine came from inside the city, with the exception of one who's a very good friend. I take pride in that. I've turned down thousands of dollars in this election because I did not want to feel like I owe anyone anything. Felt that worth mentioning. Another reason I'm running is the drug problem that we face. Went out to my front yard on Easter Sunday and found a needle in my front yard where my grandchildren are soon to be hunting Easter eggs, and that bothers me. And that's not something that just happened on Sunday. Lots of us have found those throughout the year. So that's something that bothers me, and I would address if I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, you now have 3 minutes. Your reasons for running, qualifications, and strengths.
Well, I think I've been a businessman here in Martinsville since 1985. And with strategic planning, we've been able to grow our business from the first location, 127 South Main, to 539 East Washington Street. Being in business, I've been involved in several civic activities. I did serve on the school board for 8 years. I also served on the plan commission here in Martinsville. I was also a member of the RDC. I think my experience in running a business comes and helps with running the city. The city is a business, and you need to run it as such. And I know that, yes, we've made some employees unhappy. We've had to fire a few people, but those employees that were firing was justifiable. Sometimes sitting in the mayor's office, there's difficult decisions that you have to make. Sometimes you may have a friend come in and say, I need a favor. You can't draw that line. You got to draw that line and stay professional and stay behind that. One of the reasons I want to continue to run a second term is all the different things we have going on. We have a levee project that we've started. It's going to be a $23 million project. We did get a $20 million grant from the state. And we've also got the financing for the $3 million at this time. We have a skate park that we've been working with a community group of skaters. Skaters aren't all young students. There are some older people who like to skate. So we've been working with them, getting their input on where would be a good place for the skate park. Again, we're looking at putting this on Southview Drive. This is from their input, that they think that would be a good spot, especially with all the growth we're going to have coming out on Hayesville Road and Artesian.
Thank you. Next, I will give each of you 3 minutes to review your overall vision for the city and your priorities when taking office. And I realize that the back and forth leaves 2 people to talk right in a row. Hopefully that's okay, but that makes it fair that each person gets a chance. So go ahead and Costin.
The topic.
Overall vision for the city and priorities when taking office.
We've got a lot of great things going to happen in our city. We had a group from IU come up and they did a capstone project. They talked to key leaders in our community, also talked to people in administration, and they came up with different plans, different ideas for the city on how we can grow. Because what we're planning now for the city is going to affect us 20 years from now. So we need to take the time and evaluate the information we get and do it properly. I mentioned the skate park. This is something that we think will be a huge benefit to our skaters, maybe a younger age group. I think that having a venue first movie last Saturday. I think that's a great thing. And these are all things that, for quality of life, will help attract people to our community. Because when we were running in 2019, the thing that we heard from different companies, engineering companies, was most young people will look at a place where they want to live, then go get a job. That's completely opposite of what I think. And I think most of us in the room, that if you're my generation, you know, that's not the way we look at things. But the younger generation looks at things differently, and so we have to have these amenities here for them. So it's very important for us to have that. Again, I think we need to be fiscally responsible, which we are. Mr. Manley referenced our debt load. Yes, we have debt, but debt is also an investment in our community. When I took office, there was already $15 million of bonds on the city's responsibility. And most bonds may go for 20 to 30 years, just depending on the length that is determined with the bonds initiated. There are also another $15 million of projects that were signed contracts with no funding. These are contracts that we could not get out of, such as Ohio Street, South Street. One is to put sewer out Hackett Drive, the sewer up Main Street. These are projects that our city has been kicking down the road, and we've found the funding for it. So yes, the debt load that I've got right now is actually probably about $35.8 million because we got a $5 million police station that we just bonded for. But again, we have the cash flow for it, and all the sidewalks and streets, sewer liners, we have no debt on those. The debt, and it's not really debt, it's investment in our future. And this is the key to attract people here. Am I getting close? So, awesome.
I'll repeat the question, and one thing we didn't establish, would you like a 30-second warning when you're getting close?
Yeah.
Okay, great, we'll do that. Mr. Manley, your overall vision for the city and priorities when taking office. 3 minutes.
Some of my visions would include, I would like to see Martinsville become a destination with our perfect location between Indianapolis, Bloomington, Brown County, which are destinations. Martinsville could and should be a destination. We have a heritage with legends, Bobby Helms, John Wooden, Jerry Seasteen, and now Keon Traylor. Being from Martinsville, I would like to see us build upon that and grow that, celebrate that. And we should take pride in that, and that will bring people here if we promote that the right way. Just as we do the new Bobby Helms Jingle Bell Rock Festival during the Christmas season. That's grown in the couple of years that it's been here. I would hope my administration would help to build that even bigger than it is, and it's something that we certainly should celebrate. It's one of the biggest Christmas songs out there. You ask people if they know who Bobby Helms is, most will tell you no, that they know his music as soon as you mention that. And then you tell them he's from my town, his family still lives here. And that's something I think that we should really promote hard, along with other people who've gone on and done great things. I would like to see more involvement in the Spirit of 45's 4th of July Veterans Parade. I'm involved with that newly this year. I think it's a great event. I'd like to see that grow as big as the Fall Foliage Festival Parade. It's a wonderful thing, and we should show appreciation to those who serve this nation. What a great way to do it. Priorities that my administration would focus on, but not limited to, would be work to clean up blight areas. Aggressively fight the war on drugs will be a priority, I assure you of that one. Building upon our parks to include more walking trails, more options for entertainment. The venue here is excellent. Thanks for the movie night. That's great. And my administration would build on that. My commercial and industrial plan that we'll get to here in a little bit will be a priority. Public safety will be a priority. And working to save your tax dollars at every corner will be a priority. I will work nonstop to...
30 seconds.
Am I over?
30 seconds.
Okay. To beautify Martinsville more than it already is, I would work hard to bring affordable housing to Martinsville, which we will talk about in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we'll read the duties and responsibilities of the mayor. This may or may not be something we learned in high school, but oftentimes I think a lot of us forget what is the duty of the mayor versus other departments. So bear with me while I read some of these things. Okay.
That's better.
Okay.
We couldn't see your face, sorry.
Okay. All right, the mayor is the chief executive officer of the city and is responsible for all operations of city departments. He or she signs all bonds, deeds, and contracts of the city and approves or vetoes ordinances, orders, and resolutions of the common council. The mayor appoints heads of the executive departments and many board and commission members and presides over the common council and board of public works and safety meetings. The Common Council meets the second and fourth Mondays at 7 p.m. in the council chambers on the second floor of City Hall. The Common Council is the legislative and fiscal body of the city. They consider and pass city ordinances, resolutions, and motions for the government of the city and approve departmental budgets and employee salaries recommended by the mayor. 5 members of the Common Council are elected by voters from each district, and two members are elected as at-large members. The clerk-treasurer is the clerk of the Common Council. The mayor participates and leads the Common Council meetings in a non-voting manner. The Board of Works and Public Safety are the second and fourth Mondays at 6:30 in council chambers on the second floor of City Hall. The Board of Public Works and Safety, consisting of the mayor and 2 members appointed by the mayor, in accordance with the state statute, approves all claims and makes decisions about anything to do with public works, utilities, and safety. This includes approval of temporary street closures for special events, million salt stop signs, sewer adjustments, and contracts. Lastly, we have the Redevelopment Commission. A Redevelopment Commission is another local governmental body that you might hear referred to as the RDC. Although Morgan County also has an RDC, we are focusing on the city RDC here. There are 5 voting members who are charged with investigating opportunities for economic development and redevelopment within a designated area. The RDC has the power to create economic development areas or areas needing redevelopment and TIF districts, among other powers. A redevelopment plan is a plan of action, including a list of potential projects that an RDC is required to create for an area needing redevelopment. The RDC is charged with all decisions regarding the use of TIF funds and can generate general obligation bonds, GO bonds, as well as other bonds, which are in turn paid back by using TIF funds. This is a very common way for municipalities to finance important infrastructure and growth projects. So because we here at the Chamber are a member organization for businesses and organizations, more of our discussion will happen here this evening. The mayor can set the tone and share his or her vision to influence the conversation, playing a significant role in all of these areas. But he or she is not directly responsible for many of the things we are about to discuss. So again, gentlemen, we'll give you each 3 minutes with a minute for rebuttal after each topic. We started with Mr. Manley, so Mayor Costin, this is for you. Please first address residential growth, addressing housing needs at all price points. Again, 3 minutes, and we'll give you a 30-second warning.
You know, Martinsville is strategically located between Indianapolis and Bloomington. And with the completion of 69, that's opened up a whole new area for us as far as housing. We do have 2 subdivisions that one's under construction now, we're finishing the trails, and then we do have another large company that's going to be coming in and taking down some property off of Artesian Boulevard. There's about 247 houses that are going to go in there. These are meant for first-time home buyers. There's still some additional property there that could be developed into housing. The city just invested $3 million in a lift station there. And like you mentioned, the RDC, the funding was through the RDC in order to put this in there, or the lift station. That will enable us to service that whole area for sanitary sewers and also for water. We also just recently pushed across water and sanitation up on 44 by Faith Church. Faith Church is part of the city now, and so we put water and sewer over there. So that's going to open up the whole eastern side. The topography there is a little bit different. We've talked to a few developers that want to come in that area. Those are going to be second, maybe third-time homes. With the way the terrain goes, they're beautiful setting their homes out in through there as that area tends to grow. We also need workforce development. Workforce development housing sometimes will be looked at as apartments, and we need employees for our businesses here in town. Our unemployment rate is at 2.6%. The state average is 3.1%. So when you go to a restaurant evening and you see that they've had to close, sometimes people don't show up for work, and they've been left no choice but to close their doors because they can't give you service. Our unemployment rate is so low, we need to attract more people to our community. And I think that's where the workforce development housing will help out. And in this type of housing too, a person has to have a job. That's part of the plan for the workforce development, and they need to earn a certain percentage of what the median income is for our county. So this housing can also benefit us to attract citizens to come here. Then we have the housing subdivision that's going out now, Artesian Way. They can move there to move their second household, and then we've got the other homes coming in also. But we've got a good plan for this being in place. And our wastewater treatment plant has the capabilities of servicing that.
Mr. Manley, again, the question was residential growth, addressing housing needs at all price points. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, sure. I feel like everyone knows we need to develop and have more single-family affordable housing in Martinsville. We do have the 3 additions Kenny had talked about, which will be a huge benefit to those needs as well as our local economy. My administration would want to work with also with those who buy and redo homes. They call them house flippers. I think that's a viable asset to Martinsville as well. We have several groups that do that. I think that is a wonderful effort, that you can take something that's ugly and turn it into a nice family home. I celebrate that, and I think the city should and probably do work with them. I call it turn blight to bright. I think that's a wonderful opportunity and a total win for Martinsville. Some cities, as we know, are fortunate enough to have the funds to go out and buy a whole neighborhood and redo that neighborhood. Well, unfortunately, Martinsville does not have those funds. Maybe one day we'll get there. It's a great idea, and it's something to look forward to in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I
We have a 1 minute rebuttal. Yep.
building on what Scotty said, there is a program through one of our partners, ARA, that will come in and take blighted areas and redo them and resell those properties. And that is something that we've looked into, and that's through the ARA. And it's the Southern Indiana Housing something. But that is something that is viable, and there are, we just, like everything else, you have to apply for it, make sure you meet the criteria.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Mayor, let's talk next about commercial and industrial growth, bringing businesses to our city in spite of our land challenges.
So I can't say we're a veteran community. Commercial development's and very important. With the Capstone group that came up, they identified 11 different properties in our city that could be developed into commercial or maybe repurposed. There are a couple of buildings and businesses here in town that have gone out. Business several years ago, these buildings are still sitting there. They are zoned commercial, and so we need to look at those and bring them in. I'm very pleased we do have a new company that is coming to Martinsville. It's White's Electrical. They're out on used to be Hampton as well as South and Drive. I don't know what address they give it now. But they were a company that was in Mooresville. We were able to talk with the owner, and he came down and had a visit, and he's moved his business down here. Right now, I think they employ anywhere from 25 to 30, and they're looking to add an additional 50 employees once they get here. Because here again, if you look at where they're located at, they've got great access on 69. So most of the work right now is in Indianapolis. That's why Mooresville made sense for them to be there. And now being here, they can go to Indianapolis, and then they can go to Bloomington in 15 minutes and grow their business. So those are the type of places that we need to look. Are we going to get a 400 employee business come here? Probably not, because of our topography. You know, we have a lot of land around us, but it's all in the floodplain. And most large footprints, our soil can't handle that. But we can still address, you know, many small business employers, anywhere from 50 to 60 employees. And those are the ones, once we get them into our community, and we get them hooked on how great Martinsville is, they're not going to leave. You get a company that's got 300 employees, they come in, something could change, they could just up and leave overnight. Those are things that are, those type of buildings will be more difficult to fill. But I think if we can get these smaller, mid-sized businesses, that will benefit us more in the long run.
Mr. Manley?
My administration would create a multi-agency task force to identify existing properties and land available for any development. We would create a package to include incentives, demographics, local needs, historical facts, and much more. We will then reach out to industry and commercial ventures with this information to discuss their needs, our needs, invite them to our city, see firsthand just how beautiful it is. Can you talk about that? Meet our residents, meet our leaders, showcase ourselves in a positive and professional way. We've already reached out to a grocery chain out of state that is looking to expand into Indiana, and they are very much interested. They are waiting on more information. Also spoke with a small startup business that had looked at Martinsville, but they chose Mooresville instead, but said that they would certainly sit down and talk to us and see about maybe a second location here. I think these things are vital to Martinsville's growth. It'll be a priority in my administration. I will not stop working to bring commerce, business, and new homes to Martinsville. It'll be a priority of mine. We've all heard the quote, if you build it, they will come. If we put this package together, we will be on the phone, we will be in person, we will be out promoting that idea and hopefully gain from that for our city of Martinsville. Thank you.
In a 1 minute rebuttal. Would you like it? No. Okay. And I realized I did make a mistake on who I got, who I let go first last time, so my apologies. All right. Mr. Manley, next topic of conversation is workforce development. So again, 3 minutes.
Okay. I think we can all agree that a happy employee and well-trained employee is a more productive employee. When it comes to Martinsville City employees, my administration will actively create an environment that's fun, friendly, and make sure that they are productive. I can't stress enough that happy employees always produce more. I want to recognize employees that go above and beyond. I know we've had several in the past who have done great things as far as helping stranded citizens, citizens in need, and those are certainly things that have been celebrated and should be. Workforce development for residents of Martinsville. I know that Ivy Tech has classes available here at the high school free of charge. It's under a grant called Workforce Ready. They're currently teaching welding, and that's something that they are going to expand upon. It is free, being a grant. Like I said, they are going to expand on that, and I think Jamie probably has more information on that. Their goal is to have a brick and mortar here in Martinsville. I spoke with them last week, and that would be a great and wonderful opportunity for Martinsville and our citizens, our workforce, things to strive for when it comes to all residents and city employees is job satisfaction. We would like to see lower turnover, better morale, increased productivity, a skilled workforce, and we need to retain the in-demand workers such as police, fire, water, wastewater operators. Those are all in-demand jobs, and there are a lot of headhunters out there looking for those people. So we need to work diligent and hard to keep those in-demand employees. Thank you.
Workforce development.
I agree with Scotty. I think that if you look at the tornado that came through on that Friday evening, and you see how the city workers came out in force, it wasn't just the fire, the police, it was the street department, the water department, the wastewater department. Everybody was chipping in to get our city cleaned up, and that is what makes Martinsville unique. So on our city employee side, I couldn't agree with you more. We need to do whatever we can to retain those good employees and give them benefits wherever we can. But as far as workforce development, when I hear that, I think about citizens that are going to be working at the grocery store, citizens that are going to be working at the restaurants. You know, again, I'm going to go back to how many times you go to a restaurant, you think they're going to be open, well, they've had to close because they don't have enough people that night. So I think we need to look at how do we attract the workforce development group. And I think one of this, we have to have housing for them. And that's why I think, you know, if you do the workforce development, a lot of people can say, yes, that's what we want, that's what we want. But when you go to the zoning, they don't want it in their backyard. So we, as a city, have to do a better job explaining what the workforce development housing is. We have to have that in order to attract the employees to come here. The second thing I think will be just when if it's somebody that doesn't live here, they come here, they'll fall in love with the city. Again, I'm going to refer back to the Capstone project. I think there were 7 or 8 on that committee that had never been to Martinsville. And they were going to school in Bloomington, but they'd never been here. Once they came here and started talking to the citizens, they realized how great a community we have. In fact, one of the gentlemen asked me when the housing was going to be done, because he's going to be done in school this fall, but he wants to move back to Martinsville. And in his presentation, he made a comment. He said, you know, I watched the schools. I saw children leave the school and walk home. He said, that's what I want. I want my kids to be able to walk home from school. So we've got something here that's very, very special. And I think once we get people to come in, they will buy into our community. And it's important to have the citizens here to supply the businesses that are here, the workforce.
Mr. Manley, you have 1 minute for rebuttal if you like.
No. Okay, thank you.
Now we have 3 minutes, Mr. Mayor, for transportation.
You know, with gas fluctuating, one time you go to the pump, maybe $3.50. Next time you go to the pump, maybe $4.10. Transportation is important. And again, when I think about transportation, not necessarily looking at transportation around town, because we do have a service that does provide that for citizens. But I'm looking at how can we provide transportation from citizens that work or live here, or work in Bloomington, or they work in Mooresville or Monroeville. The way Monroeville is growing right now, we'll have several people transferring up there for work. So we have talked to the company. We've had 3 meetings with them, and on how we can come up with a strategic plan to provide that transportation. In the utility bill, probably next month sometime, there will be a survey that we're asking everybody to take the time, fill it out, and send it back. Because we think transportation is vital and very important, but the citizens may not. We may be reading more into it. I think that once they look at the options they have in this transportation package, they'll think, oh yeah, I can do that. And so it's not a bus line, it's more of a carpool on steroids. And I know a lot of people, they don't want to be in a carpool with 2 or 3 people, because if I go to work and I've got a child at school that gets sick, I'm stuck at work. Well, this company will give you 5 free rides a year. They'll send somebody to get you and bring you to where the emergency is. And I think, again, that's one of the reasons people, they don't like to get a car quote because it has that stigma. Once I get a part, I'm stuck here, and if something happens, they're concerned about it. So this is a company we think will be a huge benefit to the citizens here, especially with gas prices fluctuating the way they are.
Mr. Manley, 3 minutes, transportation.
Sure. First off, I'd like to say that Mayor Costin has done a great job of paving many miles of streets in Martinsville, and I commend you for doing this. If elected, my administration would build upon these improvements. I believe the routes of travel that are coming into our city are beautiful. They are pretty well maintained. As with anything, there's always room for improvement. But as we do those things and we do improve those, it helps with economic development and, of course, the general appearance of our city. I was going to mention rideshare programs, but I think I'll just keep that one alone. Public transportation, as the city grows, will be more of a necessity. We currently have Morgan County Connect, which provides transportation to persons over 60 years of age who need a trip to the grocery store, they need to go to the doctor, whatever your case is, and it's free, but they will take a donation, so that's a huge thing for us. There's also Morgan County Connect Public, which provides transportation to people of all ages in Morgan County, including the city of Martinsville. That is a fee-based service, so a lot of people don't know about those services, and maybe they need to promote that more, and maybe as a city we could as well. As the city grows, I believe services like Uber and Lyft could be vital. Something I think would be really needed are the e-scooters that you see all over Indianapolis and Bloomington. I think we could probably sustain something like that right now and grow that as the city grows. So, thank you.
Mayor,
I just want to add
1 minute. Yep.
one thing.
Okay, one of us.
It was building on something Scott said, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, I know what it was. Something we learned, that I learned when we were working on the Ready Grant. And the Ready Grant was a project where we had 5 counties. It was Johnson and Morgan were going to work together. But the state came in and said, no, you're going to be put in with Hendricks, Putnam, Montgomery, and Boone. Well, one of the things I didn't realize was transportation is very tricky when you go across county lines. So like IU West of Avon, they'll bring people in from Indianapolis to work there, but they bring them down 40. They stop there at that gas station, they get off the bus, get on another bus, and go on up to Avon. And the mayor from Green Council was one to talk about it. And again, we all think, okay, why in the world would you do that? But I know there is some talk in legislature about changing that to where you can't go across county lines. And Scotty, I got to disagree with you. I think the e-scooters are good. I think I'll break my neck. If that everybody's really around there.
All right. Mr. Manley, you're up first on this one. Promotion of our community.
Okay. Well, this is a big one for me. My administration will hit the ground running from day one promoting our city. And people ask me, how are you going to do that? Well, one thing I would like to see is somehow we need to develop an avenue where residents can type into a search bar, say they need window repair, they need whatever the service is they need, or a business that they're looking for. We got a lot of hidden gems in our city. I think something like this would be beneficial. Maybe it's on a mayor page, maybe it's an app. That's for somebody a lot smarter than me to figure out. But if there was a way to do that, wouldn't that be a wonderful avenue? Instead of, see on Facebook, somebody's looking for a dog groomer. Well, we go into this universal search bar, those ideas would pop up. I think that's a great idea. My administration would utilize social media to promote the city of Martinsville, local businesses, as well as events, festivals. We would also utilize news, like Indianapolis big time news, and build those relationships with those individuals so that when we do have events, we make a phone call. They know who we are, we know who they are. We could also utilize social media and Facebook, YouTube for events. It kind of starts from within. So, you know, if we educate people that we have this service here, I would like to see us do a business of the month perhaps, and bring that person into a council meeting, give them a certificate, let them have a couple of minutes speech on their business. I think there's a lot more in our city than people are aware of, and I think if we do that promoting, that would be good. Along with our rich history, again, with John Wood and Bobby Helms and many others, the Mineral Springs resorts, retreats that were once here, the people came from all over the world. Our heritage with the largest goldfish hatchery in the world was once here right in Martinsville. And I think that's things that we should promote, capitalize on, promoting like Jeep and motorcycle and bicycle destinations could reward or reap huge benefits for Martinsville. The more people that we can get to come to Martinsville, like Kenny said, see how beautiful our city is. We might have time.
30 seconds.
Okay. The more people that we get here, the more they see our beautiful town and the more monies that they spend. So, thank you.
It was a different sign than 30 seconds.
Yeah. Red flag or something.
Need a flag or a bell.
Okay, 3 minutes.
Again, I want to go back to the capstone group that came in. That was one of their keynote areas that they wanted to look at. And, you know, we do need to do a better job promoting our city. You know, we have someone that is managing our Facebook page now for the city. I think she's doing a fantastic job getting information out. But again, the way I understand social media, it's very important for people to share those items on there. And, you know, as far as the chamber does a great job of listing businesses on their website on what is available in our city. But, you know, we need to do a better job promoting our activities. You know, you mentioned the 4th of July parade. I'd be surprised how many people even know about the 4th of July parade. But again, it's sort of 45 miles of it. We need to promote those things. I think that at some point, the city needs to look at having a promotional person full-time. And that promotional person can have to wear a couple of hats. They can help promote the city through social media or whatever, and work with who's working on Facebook now, but also help in economic development. Because if you're out promoting the city and talking to different businesses, you can attract those into us.
Mr. Manley, you have 1 minute if you'd like to offer that. Okay. All right, Mr. Mayor, next up we will be discussing partnerships, whether they're regional, state, or local. Discuss with us about the goals for that.
Well, we've been working on those relationships for a long time. When we won the general election in 2019, one of the things that Debbie and I wanted to do was have a New Year's Eve party and invite all the elected officials in the county. And again, when you win the general election, to get invitations out, it's kind of a quick turnaround. We were kind of on some of our notice, but our idea was we need to work together as a county. So we invited every elected official, county, Mooresville, Monroe, anybody, to come to this New Year's Eve party. I've made, and one of the reasons our meetings are on the 2nd and 4th Monday, because the county meets the 1st and 3rd Monday. And I want to be, as the mayor, able to go to their meetings and know what's going on. So that was very important to me. Also, I've gone to Mooresville to their town meetings. So I'm trying to bridge so we all work together. I remember this a couple of years ago, I was speaking at the luncheon, and I made a comment that all the elected officials there need to work together, check your egos at the door, and let's work together on what's best for our county. And I still feel like that's very important. I think the READY grant, that was a situation where we were able to partner with the other counties. That was a $250 million giveaway from the state that we all worked together on. hearing ideas from Greencastle, thinking, well, yeah, we could do that in Martinsville, or in Lebanon. Lebanon's got some fantastic things going on right now, but the one thing we have, Lebanon doesn't have, and that's water. Now, our water may be contaminated, but once it goes through the system, it's good. But we're on this huge aquifer that they would give anything to have. So, again, working with those different entities, working with the different counties, just helps, not only gives us a presence with them, we can bring ideas back from there that, okay, may or may not work, but we won't know unless we try. So I think it's very important to have these partnerships.
Mr. Mayor, 3 minutes, partnerships, whether they be regional, state, local.
Thank you. First off, thanks for saying that about the water. I'm passionate about that. That's my job for 23 years, so thank you.
This isn't all.
Like Kenny said, he touched on the fact that everybody needs to work together, and that was the first thing on my list here, that we, county, city, township, other communities close by, we all got to work together, so I'll run past that. One big thing with me is we need to partner with the state, the county, Martinsville police, and actively fight this war on drugs. That is such a huge issue with me. We need to also step outside the county into surrounding counties and get them involved, because we can't send one of our officers in a small town out to be a informant, or not an informant, but to work drugs, because everybody knows that officer. But if we can do an exchange program with another county who doesn't know that officer, that would have reap huge benefits, I believe. Partnering with service organizations such as the Lions, Kiwanis, Rotary Club, churches, sororities, anyone who would to organize and conduct community cleanup days would be helpful. Sometimes maybe just helping the elderly or people who just need a helping hand would be a huge thing, and we could organize those and again partner together with those. Another big thing with me, I think I'm running out of time, is my administration will partner with Morgan County Recycle. That's a huge thing with me. We need to grow and promote recycling. I know we just bought the new trash trucks, which were needed. I'm not throwing any stones there. But I've already met with the director of Morgan County Recycling, and he is willing to work with the city on this. That is a great way to save a lot of money, because the less you have to pick up, the less manpower, the less fuel out, the less wear and tear on your vehicles. That is a huge thing. And recycling also has many positive advantages. It not only helps protect the environment, it helps to cut those costs to pick up and the disposal of that, and it helps to create and keep American jobs. So it's a total win. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Costin, 1 minute.
Again, I'm talking about partnerships, and just recently we have established a drug task force. Morgan County Sheriff's Department and Martinsville work together. Mooresville just joined. We were at the Republican Breakfast about a month ago. So now they are working together. So I think you will see some benefits from that. And the recycling is very important. I recycle, and it drives me nuts when I leave the house at Christmas time and I see all these cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you take those down to the sheriff's department and get rid of them.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with Scott on that. Recycling is very important for our community, and it starts with education.
Yes.
Okay. Switching gears, we will move to Parks and Recreation. For our audience, the mayor appoints the park superintendent, but from then on, the superintendent reports to the park board. The park board, with the superintendent's help, prepares a budget request to present to the common council for approval. The mayor may certainly share his or her vision and priorities with the Parks Board and the superintendent, especially since the parks and trails reflect on our city and contribute to our quality of place. Mr. Manley, first up, we are extending the time. We have 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes to discuss the management and programming for current facilities, including the venue. So one more time, management and programming for the current facilities, including the venue. Go ahead, 5 minutes.
Well, I'm excited, like anyone is, about the recreation and including the new venue. What a wonderful thing that the mayor has brought to our city. Thank you for that. I would like to see a lot of events in there, like everybody would. The movie night was great. We know we have concerts coming. I would like to see maybe dances, talent shows, magic shows, weddings, church events, community band concerts, plays. And a big thing for me would be a city New Year's Eve party with a ball drop. Right out here would be huge, and something that my administration would do, and maybe you have that on the plans, I'm not sure. But the more we schedule and promote these things, there's that word again, promote, the more we grow our local economy, and that is a great thing right there to bring those people into our community and help grow our economy with their money. Sometimes I just think we need to think bigger and better. I would like to work closer with the park board to continue the remodel and beautification of Jimmy Nash Park. Again, asking for volunteer groups, maybe to come in and help us cut vegetation, clean trails, paint, other projects that are needed up there. Also, making the path around the pond ADA compliant would be nice, so that the people with disabilities could go and enjoy that area. Would be a huge thing and something that would be on my agenda. A big thing with me are the ball fields on the north side of town that I know we lease out. I spent 23 years up there at the water plant, so I've seen a lot of things that went on there. Vandalism, squatters, just the general neglect of it, drug users, and other activities that I cannot mention tonight. I witnessed from right there in the window of the water plant. I personally found drugs and needles in that area, and that's a place where our children play. Some have a great